Sunnah followers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnah followers, protectors of the Sunnah.
In alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam Allah, wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of Sunnah Followers Tawheed class. And for this class, we have been discussing the importance of purifying your heart. And the way to purify your heart is by first recognizing what are the things that can destroy it. And we talked about how there are many causes of sickness of the heart, such as ignorance, not being educated about the religion. And this is something that we were speaking about here in the Zoom room. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made seeking knowledge an obligation upon all Muslims. We're supposed to be able to see through the plots and the ploys of Shaitan. We're supposed to be able to recognize when people are frauds and when they're not. We're supposed to know the Sunnah and what contradicts it. But unfortunately, guys, most Muslims fall into sin. And most Muslims make big mistakes because they're not educated. They don't know what the lawful and the unlawful things are. They don't know the rules. They don't know the guidelines that Allah has put in effect for us in our daily lives. They don't know what the Prophet taught us and how he taught us to handle ourselves in situations. So the number one destroyer of your heart and your faith is ignorance of the religion. We have to take the time to learn the deen. And also we talked about another cause that can destroy your heart and weaken your faith is hypocrisy. There's a lot of Muslims out there, once they learn the truth, they don't want to accept it. It's too much for them to accept. And that happens because as our God, Allah told us, as human beings, we are attracted. We are attracted to the things that are bad for us. We are attracted to the things that are not good for us. So when we do find out that something is haram, we don't want to accept it. And that makes us fall in the category of a hypocrite because we say we believe in Allah, but his laws ain't good enough. His rules are not good enough because they go against my desires. For example, you know, we talked about this in our Zoom room. What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about women who dip themselves into the business of the personal lives of others? What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about a woman arranging the marriage of another woman? And nowadays, a lot of females, Muslim females, they lack self-worth because they're broken. They come from broken backgrounds. So what do? They go to college. And what is the easiest degree? I want you guys to answer. What is the most easiest degree to get in college? Can anybody answer that question? What's the easiest? It ain't easy to be no nurse. Oh, heck no. A lot of people can't even pass. Exactly. The easiest degree to graduate with a PhD in is psychology because there's no wrong answers. You can take philosophy and psychology and never fail neither of those classes. The only philosophy class that is hard is that deductive logic, okay? But other than that, the rest of the symbolic logic. When I went to college and got my degrees. I got more than one. You know what I took a lot of? Psychology and philosophy, because they were the easiest classes. You can never get an answer wrong. The hardest class was symbolic logic, because you're going to take logic and put it into symbols. That was hard. I didn't pass that one because that involved thought. But I passed every psychology class like all of you have. I passed every philosophy class with A's like all of you have. It's the easiest class of all. So you find a lot of Muslim women nowadays going to college, they come from broken backgrounds. And there's a lot of incest that goes on amongst the Muslims today. There's a lot of sexual abuse that goes on amongst the Muslims today. I'm just keeping it real. We grow up in families where the parents may have been abusive towards you, physically, verbally, emotionally. So you want to change your life. You want to make your life better. So you go to college if you're a woman. You come from countries where men look down on women, because Islam teaches us, for those of you Muslim women who come from Muslim countries like Egypt or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or even the Emirates, they don't pay women what they pay men when you do work. And there's only so far you can go on a job as a female. So these countries, some of them help to break the spirit of a female. So these females go to school, they get PhDs, masters, and everything else in psychology, which is the easiest. And everybody know I ain't lying, because everybody on my website got degrees, and we all know how easy psychology is. You get a PhD in psychology. That's why in America you ain't making no money with it. PhD in psychology, you don't make no money. I make more than a psychologist, and I was working in a developmental center for the state. All right. But anyway, we get these degrees, and then we want to feel special. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel like we are of worth. So being a woman, we put ourselves in a position of counseling, advising others. I can teach you how to have a happy marriage. I can teach you how to be a good mother. I can teach you how to be a happy woman. When these type of things, really, you can't teach me anything, because Allah has already taught us how to have a happy marriage. Allah, through his messenger, taught us how to be the best mothers, the best daughters, the best we can be as women. We have the master coach. The master coach. And that master coach had a bunch of coachettes. His coachettes were his wives. Aisha could teach you. She taught us how to be good wives, good mothers, good supporters. Salama taught us. So we already have the role models defined for us by Allah. Allah says the best were those companions. So in reality, these busybody women who come from broken backgrounds or come from countries that destroy their self-worth, they get these jobs, they get these degrees in psychology, which is the easiest field of all. And they sit at home. They sit at home and they call themselves gonna help you in your personal life. What did the Prophet Muhammad say about a woman helping you in your personal life? What did the Prophet say about a woman leading a nation or anything else? And it just falls into the category of what we talked about yesterday. Whenever we as Muslims deviate away from what Allah said, Whenever we deviate away from what the prophet said, it's always going to end up a failure. It's always going to end up chaos. And that's why the Muslim nation is in shambles all around the world today, because we've abandoned the Quran and the Sunnah, and we've replaced it with stupid psychology written by kafirs who don't even have the intelligence. Like the prophet said, don't ever. He said, do not ever refer to a kafir as being wise or intelligent. Because if he or she were so wise and intelligent, they would believe la ilaha illallah. But we go around quoting kafirs all day. We quote Einstein. We quote Sigmund Freud. We teach how to have a happy marriage and raise happy children, not based on what Allah and the prophet said, but what some kafir man wrote in a book, or some kafir teacher taught you in some kafir school that you went to and paid a bunch of money just to get a paper in opinion. Because that's all psychology is, your opinion. It's the weakest science of all. And y'all know I ain't lying. So we got to really understand, guys, that our way of life has been detailed to us by Allah. Allah told us that there are some things that can corrupt our faith, corrupt our heart. Ignorance is one, and so is hypocrisy. We go to school, we get these PhDs, and we now gonna live like hypocrites. We forget about what the prophet said about a woman trying to arrange another woman's marriage. We become matchmakers. We become counselors and master life coaches. How can I coach you on how to live your life when I don't even have my eyebrows? I'm standing before you with a hijab on that shows half my hair. My breasts are sticking out. I have no eyebrows. I threw a little white rag around my head. But I'm gonna coach you in how to live your life when I'm not even living mine the way Allah said live it. Hypocrisy. If you don't educate yourself about Islam, you will be an ignorant person who will listen to these people who fall in the category of the Ruwaybidah. I'm always bringing that name up. Who are the Ruwaybidah? The Prophet Muhammad said the Ruwaybidah, these are the people who accomplished themselves in this dunya. And they have a lot to say. They can tell you how to have a happy marriage. They can tell you how to raise a kid. They can tell you how to be successful in life, but they don't even know La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah and what it means. They got a lot to say about this dunya, but ain't got nothing to tell you about the akhirah. That's the Ruwaybidah. And you guys have replaced, many of you Muslims have replaced the companions who are the real life coaches. You have replaced the prophet who is the master coach. You've replaced them with these women who are Ruwaybidah. And that's why we are falling and failing as a nation. The prophet said, any nation, I repeat, any nation, I repeat, any nation that makes women their leaders will be a nation that fails. You hear that, Brother Haytham and all you other Arabs? Any nation that makes women your leaders, you will fail. Now, does that sound like a feminist? Would a feminist make that remark? I am not a feminist. I know my limitations as a woman, and I would never try to be a leader over anything except a battle array. If the war was to break out today, between the Mahdi and the Antichrist. The only leader I would be is I'd leave America with all my Bantus. And we'd be the first one meeting him in Mecca. And I'd say, tell me where to stand, Mahdi. Bantus, line up. We'd have our spears, our swords, our nunchucks, our shotguns and bazookas. I'd say, line up, Bantus. We ready to roll out. That's the only leader that I would ever be. So I'm not a feminist, because a feminist is a woman that thinks that she can lead men. These females that you Arabic men have replaced the companions with, these females that you Arabic men think can save your marriage when they ain't even got no husband themselves. You know, those are the feminists who don't know that they walk with the curse of Allah on them, because a woman's place is the home. Does that sound like a feminist, Brother Hatham? The woman's place is the home, and to mind her own business. The woman's place, her job, is to take care of herself and her family, to make sure the psychology of herself and her family is correct. It ain't the woman's position or job to be out there sitting with men who are not mahrams to her, advising them on how to have a happy marriage and satisfy a woman. So you Arabic men, remember the Gog and the Magog is coming. Every day as we sit here, the hole that the Gog and the Magog scrape is getting bigger. When that Gog and Magog is released, they are going to destroy all the Arab countries and kill all the Arabs. Why? Because you are the ones, I see it today, that are first to deviate away from Islam and its truthfulness. You people are the first to choose this dunya over the akhirah. You people are the first to take the women ruwaybida, as your life coaches. You Arab men better wake up and smell the coffee. I'm an Arab too, but I'm a Muslim first. And as a Muslim female, I know my place. I'm not a feminist. I'm a female of the Sunnah. Big difference. All right, so hypocrisy, that's one of the number one destroyers of the heart. And if a heart is sickened and diseased by ignorance and hypocrisy, that's a heart that is also diseased with doubt. That's the person that's gonna question everything. You can tell if you have a heart that's diseased with doubt, because some of the questions you'll be asking right now is, where'd she get that from? I don't believe that. I ain't never heard that before. Ain't nobody ever told me a man got to wear a beard. Ain't nobody ever told me that a woman supposed to be at home. Ain't nobody ever told me that a woman can't lead a nation. I doubt everything she say. And everything I said was based on authentic hadith. So we have to free our hearts of ignorance. We have to free our hearts of hypocrisy. We have to free our hearts of doubt, because these three things not only destroy your heart, but they weaken your faith. And I hope you all understand that. Now, today, what I'm going to do is speak about something else. We talked yesterday about how if you suffer with a weak heart, that means that your faith is just as weak. Well, today, I'm going to talk about the things that cause your heart and faith to weaken. Let me put the PowerPoint up here. There are certain things that we indulge in this world. There are certain things that we indulge in life that are causes of our iman going down and our heart becoming sick. And the number one cause is something that we talk about in our Zoom room that I want you brothers to understand. The number one cause of you brothers suffering with weakness of faith is because you stayed away. You stayed away from a faith-filled environment. This is why Allah tells us what's going to happen. He tells us what's going to happen when the angels pull your soul from your throat. He said when the angels pull our soul from our throat, they ask us, was not Allah's earth spacious? Why didn't you move? Why didn't you relocate to some other part of the earth where you could have been around people who were righteous? And this is something that we talk about in our Zoom room with the brothers here. Many of you brothers, you come here and you complain that the reason why you don't have your beard, the reason why you're not making your prayers at the mosque, the reason why you don't know what your role is as a husband, the reason why you don't know what your role is as a man, period, is because everybody around you is corrupt. The mosques are corrupt. The imams are corrupt. The boards are corrupt. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Everybody's corrupt. Well, guess what? That Allah's not going to accept that excuse. Allah is going to ask you, did I not make my earth spacious enough? Why didn't you move to another part of the world where the imams weren't corrupt? Why didn't you go to another town? Why didn't you go to another city? Why didn't you go to another country? Why didn't you take your butt back home if back home was better for you? The bottom line is, guys, you know, without having a faith-filled environment, if everybody around you is corrupt, guess what? You will become corrupt too. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Has not the time come for the hearts of those who believe in Allah to be affected by this Quran to the point that whatever has been revealed to you, you know that it's the truth. And if you didn't know that, you would become just like the people before you. You would become just like the Jews and Christians. And the term was prolonged for them. That means their lives, they lived longer lives than us, guys. And as long as Allah kept them living, their hearts became hardened. And many of them became rebellious and disobedient. And that's what we see. The prophet said that we would end up becoming like the kafir. Because just like that picture, that woman I showed y'all, we'll end up looking like the kafir, shaving our eyebrows off and drawing them in. We'll make our hijabs go further back just to show we got hair. We'll start dressing in suits and keep the breast open so that they can see I got a shape. You know, we start dressing like them. We start looking like them. Then we start living their type of lifestyle. But we end up adapting their problems too. That's what the Jews did. You know, and we are going to end up doing that too. We're imitating the Jews, we're imitating the Christians, and we got all the Jew and the Christians problems. We ain't got no happy marriages. We don't know how to raise children. We done forgot how to clean ourselves. We even forgot how to dress. We definitely don't know what's lawful and what isn't. We forgot that the only master is Allah. See that? So environment is everything, guys. We have to surround ourselves with the righteous Muslims, because remember, the greatest weapon that any of us have against Shaitan is each other. We support each other. We pick each other up. We remind each other. When I see a person weakening, it's my job as a guy to pick them up. When I see a brother or a sister posting up something on Facebook that is detrimental to Islam, I have to remind him, what did the law say? What did the prophet say? Who's the master? Who's this? And alhamdulillah, the brother deletes it or the sister deletes it because you're right, you reminded me. Thank you. That's why we have to surround ourselves with other strong believers. So environment, your environment has everything to do with how healthy your heart is and how strong your faith is. And we have another example, a person who stays away from his brothers in faith. A lot of people use COVID today. Oh, I haven't been around no Muslim men. Oh, I haven't been around no sisters lately. They stay away. And then you end up missing that atmosphere that was good for you. Many of you experienced that here at the website last year. And by the way, guys, I'm getting ready to have my surgery again. I get to find a date next week. When I had my total knee replacement surgery in my left knee, I went through so much pain and suffering, I canceled my classes. I didn't do no classes for 3 months, the first 3 months. Dr. Dramali ended up calling me, telling me, get up and teach, okay? When I came back with the Zoom room. And remember, the first people that joined here was Zarina and Fatima El Qayyum, and here my old girl came, Fatima Ritz. Okay, the other sister, what was her name? The one that I ended up having to put in check, but she was here for me. What's her name? The Desi sister, married to the brother in Columbus. She came in, and here come my old girl Fresno, because Fresno had been gone for a while. Anissa. Alhamdulillah, the first thing that they all said was, where you been? Girl, I felt like I was drowning. I remember one of them said, I felt like I was drowning because I didn't have your classes, your lectures. Oh my God, I was drowning. You guys all missed the faith-filled environment. Because one thing about that old room, we didn't have Zoom, but it was open 24 hours. Sarah was always there playing Quran or playing something. Okay, now we're blessed with the Zoom room where we can see each other and laugh and interact. It's even better, you know. But when you guys experienced it, whenever you leave your faith-filled environment, you will find that your heart and your faith will decline. Again, our strength comes in numbers. Our strength comes from each other, just like this picture here. I love this picture. These are real Muslim men in Australia. This is one of the masjids that Dr. Ibrahim Dramali went to 7 years ago and gave lectures to. Look at these brothers. They all got beautiful beards. Look at the different, some of them are Arabic, some of them are Caucasian, some of them are African-American, no, not African-American, but of Black origins. Look at these brothers. But they're all Muslim, Australian Muslims. They support each other. They stand with each other. They don't look like the Kafir. They look like each other. Handsome young men. I'd marry any of them. Any one of them could be Layla's, even the one with the tattoo, because he got the tattoos before his smile. Okay? Listen to what El-Hassan el-Basri said. He said, our brothers are dearer to us than our own families, because our families remind us of this dunya, of this world. But our brothers remind us of the hereafter. Stop using COVID as an excuse to be away from your brothers and sisters in faith. You men have to go to the mosque. You need that support. You need that strength. And if you're in a community of corruption, you need to move. You need to find a mosque that is upon the sunnah. And so you could be just like those brothers in that picture, supporting each other. And you sisters got it easier because we got the Sunnah Follower Zoom room. You can come in here and hang out with Layla Nashiba, listen to me whip a hole in Brother Hatham, listen to me argue with Amina Fresno, listen to me laugh at Sister Anissa, listen to me, sing my praise or my bantus. We here, we support each other all day and all night here as women in this Zoom room. Take advantage of it. We support each other. We laugh, we joke, we even fight sometimes, but we always here to help each other and support each other in our time of need. You brothers need to be like these brothers in Australia. One strong, young, handsome, fine community, standing strong despite COVID. Okay? And again, you know, if we stay away from our Muslim brothers and sisters too long, it leads to alienation of the heart. And alienation of the heart changes into disdain for faith. And your heart will eventually become hard and dark, and all the faith will disappear, like you see in this picture here. This woman has isolated herself, alienated herself to the point where, look, she has no strength. She's weak in her iman. She's weak in her struggle of life. She needs to be around other Muslims. She needs to pour her strength from me. She needs to pour her strength from Anissa. She needs to pour her strength from Amina Fresno. She needs the intellect of Israel. She needs the strength of Awa. She needs the humbleness and the compassion of Umi Beryl. You know, she needs the ambition of the twins. She needs the take it one day at a time attitude of Habiba. She needs the happiness of Yasmin and Brother Tarek. Subhanallah. So again, you know, this is why we cannot stay away from a faith-filled environment. You sisters got it easy. Join us on the Zoom room. You brothers, get your behind to a mosque to surround yourself with men like the men in that picture. If the mosque you're dealing with is corrupt, then find one that isn't. Also, another cause of weakness of faith and a sick heart is not being around righteous leaders. I want you guys to take a look at this picture here. These are the righteous leaders of Egypt, El-Azhar. Okay, this is where Dr. Saeed is from. Dr. Saeed is one of the professors of the University of El-Azhar. These are righteous men, righteous leader. The person who learns from a righteous person gains beneficial knowledge, whereas you will be encouraged to do the good deeds that are pleasing to Allah, and in turn, your faith will grow, and your leader will advise you. Your leader will encourage you, and he will pass on to you the knowledge and the good morals and virtues that he has. That's why the prophet said, sit. He said, sit in the company of the righteous leaders, because that's how you learn from them. Why do I keep my Zoom room open 24 hours? For my people here who are my students learning from me. You know, I'm your teacher, I'm your leader in here. And a woman can lead as a teacher. But I live my life through this camera, so you can see how I deal with the trials of life. You see how I deal with my children. You see how I deal with the drama of my family, but I still bounce back and I keep it all in accordance to Islam. You see how I'll deal with Brother Haytham, you know, but we keep it within the guidance of Islam. You see how I advise the students here who come seeking for help. You see how the way I speak to one of the children, it's not the same way I'm going to speak to Amina Fresno. You see the way I answer Brother Merard. It's not the same way I'm going to answer Brother Ahmad, because Brother Merard is not as strong as Ahmad yet. The way I deal with Haytham, I don't deal with nobody like him but him. The way I deal with Haytham, I would never deal with any of you, because it's not the same level. You know, so, you know, because people are different and we have to deal with them differently. So that's why the prophet said, sit in the company of the righteous leaders, because so you can learn how to deal with life and deal with people and deal with the challenges the way they deal, in addition to taking from us our knowledge, in addition to taking from us our understanding. So again, this is another cause of weakness of faith, staying away from the examples of the righteous leaders. You guys see how Brother Saeed, Dr. Saeed deals with Brother Haitham. The way I deal with Haitham is the way a female deals with Haitham. The way Dr. Saeed would deal with Brother Haitham is the way a man would deal with him, who's a leader. So it's different. It's different. It's different. Okay? Also, the companions tell us how when they lost the greatest leader of all, which was the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how it almost devastated them. They said when he died and was buried, we looked at our hearts and we felt that we could tell that our hearts had changed. We felt alienated because we lost our best example. We lost our teacher. And many of them described themselves like a sheep on a rainy winter night. But even though the prophet had died, the companions very soon discovered that he left behind great leaders, giants amongst men, such as Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Masud, the Aisha, Salama, Hafsa, Zainab, Amir ibn al-As, Abu Sufyan, Muawiyah. He left behind a lot of great leaders who were able to take up the reins of leadership and also become examples for us. But nowadays, we Muslims have forgot about them. Like I said, instead of us taking these great men and these great women as our role models and how to have happy marriages and how to live life, we've replaced them with Ruwaybida. We've replaced them with these loser women and men who come from a broken existence, but brag and boast because they have the easiest degree on earth called psychology. We've taken them as our life coaches, role models, and everything else. Sad. Learn about the companions. There is nothing that any Muslim on this earth is encountering in his or her life today that those companions did not encounter. And those companions can steer you on how to handle it and get over better than any woman or man who went to some Kaffir school with a degree in psychology. The easiest degree that has no right and no wrong answers. All right. Also, another cause of weakness of faith is failing to seek the proper knowledge. And this is the problem. We put emphasis on knowledge of the dunya, on psychology and science. We forget about the Quran and the Sunnah. There's many books written by Ibn Taymiyyah on, like this book I'm teaching from. What I am teaching you right now is based on the book Diseases of the Heart, written by Ibn Taymiyyah. There's many books written by Ibn Qayyim, who was one of his students. Many books, you have the Quran Tafsir of Ibn Abbas. That's in a whole collection of books. There's other books, where the companions and their followers and other learned men have written that can help to motivate you to fulfill your spiritual potential and can motivate you to live your life in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah. But instead of us seeking that knowledge, we're reading the books written by, the great master life coaches of today. SubhanAllah. The works of Ibn Taymiyyah are tremendous. All the lectures I teach you are based on his books, including this one. Okay? Another cause of weakness of faith and a sick heart is living in an environment that is filled with sin. We got to change our location. Not only is the mosque corrupt, but your environment is corrupt. You got people selling drugs. You got people prostituting. You got people committing sins all around you, and they boast about it. They don't feel bad about it. They boast about it. They talk about it. Or you live in an environment that's filled with people who only care about faloof. It's all about faloof, faloof, faloof. What house you bought? How many millions of dollars did you pay on your house? Do you have a car that's $1 million? Do you have a boat, a yacht? They talk about work, money, investments, and all this crap. Instead of talking about Allah, this will cause your iman to drop. We have to be reminded of Allah. The clean heart, the safe heart is the heart that is reminded of Allah. The Prophet told us that. The healthy heart is refreshed through remembrance of Allah. That's an hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also another cause of weakness of faith and a corrupt heart is being too preoccupied with this dunya. You become a slave to the dunya. And that's what the Prophet meant when he said, doomed is the person who is the slave of the dollar bill. We should live on this earth as if we are a traveler. Why? Because the traveler only takes what he needs. He only takes from this world what will benefit him in his destination, that will help him to reach his destination. We are too busy being occupied with being the best, being superior, being on top, trying to be the best, that we lose sight of our main goal, which is supposed to be paradise. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, Allah says, we have sent down money for the establishing of the prayer and the paying of zakat. But if the son of Adam has one valley, he will wish that he had a second. If he had two, he will wish for a third. The stomach of the son of Adam will be filled only with dirt. And that means after he dies. And by then, your repentance will be too late. And that's exactly how we are today as Muslims. We're so preoccupied with having the most biggest car, like I said, trying to be like the Kardashians. We forgot all about the Abdullahs. It's all about being a Kardashian, that we've lost sight of our purpose. We've lost sight of our main goal and what it should be. And as a result, we've given up our iman. We've lost our purpose. And we are now the wretched nation that we have become today. So I'm going to stop right here for today. I want you guys to do your homework tonight. The homework tonight is, I want you to, after you finish making all your prayers and do your little night prayer, I want you to sit there with Allah. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, do you have any of these causes in your life? Are you a person who's living in an environment that is corrupt? And as a result, you have become corrupt too. Ask yourself, do you need, and then ask yourself, what do I need to do to change this? What do I need to do to better my iman? What do I need to do to better my faith? Am I going to sit here and blame it on what everybody else is doing? Or am I going to take the steps needed to make that change? Make that change. Man in the mirror. Remember that? Look in the mirror. What else is causing my faith to be weak? Is it because I'm not seeking knowledge of Islam? Look at the man in the mirror. Am I wasting my time reading psychology books when I should be at Sunnah followers asking questions to Sister Layla, asking questions to Dr. Jamali, asking questions to Dr. Saeed? Should I be listening to the classes that Sister Layla's teaching? Because all Layla's classes are self-help. All my classes, in case you haven't figured it out, people, are self-help classes. But they're self-help based on what the prophet said and Allah. The law is Allah and the prophet are advising you. Allah and the prophet are reminding you. I'm just a messenger. Ask yourself, do you have these causes in your life? And then if the answer is yes, then ask yourself, what are you going to do to change it? Okay, I'm going to stop right here for today. I want to remind everybody that we have another lecture tonight. That lecture will be with Dr. Saeed, and it'll be in our Zoom room, and I'll broadcast it on Facebook. And the topic is about Shaitan, how Shaitan corrupts us. And I want you guys to keep your answers based on Quran and Sunnah, not based on what Sigmund Freud said about the boom, bang, boom theory. Okay? All right. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.